think it is time for NXT to take over.
Suplex City, bitch.
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Who?
I told my father I'm gonna set up my own lucha league in America, and I'm gonna make it the best league in the world.
I'm gonna leave him in a pile of blood and urine and vomit.
Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review Monday Night Raw and give all of you beautiful people the wrestling news of the week. That name that you're thinking of right now, of who is the voice that I'm hearing of right now, it's my own, of course. It's Turbo Tony. I'm just your friend. It's just Tony. It's just me. It's me right here. I've always been here, right? And I'm joined here with a man who, as we speak, doesn't even know it. But if he looks down at his feet, he will know that he has just again pinned Mark Henry. It's Matt Marsander.
It hasn't happened now.
No,
I think I did earlier.
yeah,
At
yeah.
work.
Well, I had a nasty fall today, Matt. Did I tell you about this?
Did you trip over Mark Henry?
I tripped over Mark Henry, but at least one of my legs was still over him, so I still pinned him for 3. So that is something good to be taken.
It works.
It works. It works. How's been your week, Matt?
Long, unfortunately.
Yeah, well,
No, it's been fine. Especially when it's just like the worst part is like, yeah, time to watch some wrestling. Cool. What am I going to prioritize? Of course, I'm going to watch NXT before I watch anything else.
a man with his priorities straight. I like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
As you know, Matt, like this has been like the first day since Monday that I've actually been able to speak properly. Really,
That's true.
So I've been ill all this week, and I've literally just been like blasting myself with like antibiotics to make myself better, and hopefully, fingers crossed,
Need to improve.
yeah, hopefully it will hold out just long enough so I can start the week-long process again on Monday, I imagine.
Yeah.
That's where we're going with there. Well, we've got a lot to cover of the things that we did, Matt. We had one of our most successful videos we ever put up on our channel that happened this week. It was the Sauna Monster interview.
Mm-hmm.
Just go by the numbers. Almost 800 views. That's pretty crazy for a small little channel like ours. I like to say small, but you know, we're not exactly getting in thousands of views. We'll get there eventually, but man, that was pretty crazy, and all the new subscribers that have come onto the channel going forward. If you guys obviously never listened to a proper episode of our show before, then awesome, welcome. This is what we do on a weekly basis. You know, this is our bread and butter, Matt. This is what we've done. 97 episodes. Can you believe it?
Crazy.
So, what have we got on for the show there this week? Before I do the remainder of our plugging, just to keep you guys gripped in. You know, we've got our news, some interesting news stories breaking down this week. We'll give our thoughts on that. The fan feedback. Questions from you guys. We'll answer some very interesting questions. We'll also be talking about Nia Jax's debut on our NXT report card. We're going to reviewing her down. Did we like her? Didn't we like her? We'll get into that. And obviously we've got the Raw review, which is losing more viewers by the week, it seems like. It seems like we have a landslide going on. You know. But, Matt, if they want to tweet us for anything involving this show, what is the Twitter handle?
You mean at Talk Wrestle Pod?
It is. And I seem to have understand, Matt, that you've got a name for your followers.
Of the trend.
Yeah.
Of hashtag Marsander Mafia.
So it's the Marsander Mafia.
So.
I like that too much not to be annoyed at it. Unfortunately, which is bad for me. People need to come on, guys. You know, come on the YouTube comment section. That's my army. They need to come up with a name for.
To be fair, it sounds better than Team Turbo or Team Tony.
Well, no, I think Team Turbo is okay. I don't know. We just got some very intelligent fans. They can come up with something. I'm sure they can. So.
Yeah.
But Marsander Mafia, that is pretty good. Have you been newly crowned the Don?
I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah. We look damn good in the sports jacket at the very least. I know that. I've seen that firsthand. So.
Yeah, exactly. So if it works,
that's it. Guys, the time is running out. You don't have many more weeks to send in your intros to letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Around 30 seconds. An introduction for the show. Do it in any way that you like, and you can imitate wrestlers, you can just be yourself, you can do Paul Heyman that shit up, but as long as it's the best, you're in with a chance of winning the exclusive Let's Talk Wrestling t-shirt, which isn't even available for purchase yet. That's how exclusive this is, so it's awesome. And if you're looking to see what the shirt looks like, I think it was 2 episodes ago we put a picture up it there for the majority of the video, so you can check it out there. It looks awesome. I'm excited. Myself and Matt we'll probably be getting ours very soon, so that's pretty fun, you know. So.
Yeah.
But enough with the procrastinating, Matt. We need to get into talking some wrestling. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
It's been, like I said, a long week. I actually felt good, Matt, just sitting down after all the illnesses, the long week you've had, just to sit down and just talk some wrestling, man. Just feels good. Feels good to unwind.
Straight chat.
Just a straight chat. That's it. So let's get into it. Austin may not, or maybe, appearing on Raw next week. This is the big thing that seems to be going backwards and forwards. Now, if you remember that for this big Raw that they're hoping that will sway the ratings back in their favour, what they've got currently is Brock Lesnar. This is for next week's Raw. The go-home, by the way, for Hell in a Cell, right?
Yeah.
So they've got Brock Lesnar, they've got The Undertaker, they've got HBK, and they've got Ric Flair. So that's a pretty good stellar lineup. But Austin was due to appear on that show as well. So it's weird that he's going to be there. He's there, right? He's doing the podcast with Lesnar. So he will be in the building. It's just a fact of why have they chosen to take him out? Is he going to be able? Did they take him out because they want him to be more of a shock? I don't know. Austin put up on his Twitter, I think today, saying as far as he knows, there's no plans, but he will be in the building, right? So I'm not going. Basically, the way I'm looking at it, Matt. Actually, before I explain where I think this is going, do you think Austin's going to appear on Raw next week?
Yeah.
You think he is?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you think that?
I don't know. I don't think it's so much of whether I think it's going to be or whether it's just I want. But the thing is, it's tough because they've already said that it will definitely be there. I mean, it's no, I think it's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, I lean
because
on...
the amount of times they turn around and go, "Oh yeah," and then immediately after Raw, we're going to have this on the network, and it's like it's always in the same venue. Like they had Cena do it once, and he was all well, not Cena, Paige do it. It's still just like, "Oh, I'm still sweaty. I've just had my match, and I haven't even showered yet," sort of thing. So like we know that, you know, Austin is there to do the podcast there and then.
Yeah. With me, the way I thought about it was it's a bit of an odd to have Austin's first Raw appearance in God knows how long, just randomly on this show, right, without much of a build-up, right? They didn't even, you know...
To hype something that he's not involved in.
Yeah, right? Maybe they're thinking, you know, we've got enough stars. I mean, we've got 4 of them there. That's quite big. Maybe we can save Austin for a later date or anything along those lines. Maybe Austin said, look, I'm not actually feeling that comfortable doing this. I don't know, but... I mean, there's always a chance. I lean on the side of they decided, actually, we're not going to do this. The one thing that makes you think that maybe it is the case and they want to do it as a shock is that he's still advertised to, I believe, like on the actual like the building itself. It's still showing him as being there. So I mean, they're not technically lying because he will be there. It's awkward. I don't think he will be. I think someone wisened up backstage and thought we don't need him back, or there's no reason to do this at the moment, or just something along those lines. You know, it might be overkill. I mean, come on, you've got Lesnar, Taker, you've got Ric Flair, you've got HBK. They're probably going to all be involved in a segment, right? You throw Austin there, and suddenly it looks like you've done that's a bit overkill in that sense. I think that those 4 having an appearance is more than enough to have a memorable show, right? So, still, I mean, obviously we'll see it. I'm not ruling it out, but if everyone's going to put a gun to my head and say, is Austin going to be on this show? I'd probably go, he's probably not going to be. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But who knows? He'll be in the building. Maybe we all know Vince likes to change his mind on occasion, and maybe he saw the ratings this week and might decide against it and just flip back again. Who knows? Who knows? But still, anyone excited for Austin being back? Don't get your hopes too much up, because it's a win-win. You don't get your hopes up and he doesn't come out, then you're not as heartbroken. Don't get your hopes up and he does come out, it'll be a big shock for you. Awesome. So that's the way you should go with it. Here's an interesting one, Matt. I know you must have caught this news over the week. Sami Zayn appearing for Evolve. Oh yes. Now, don't worry, guys. Like I saw some people getting a little bit too worried that, oh my god, did WWE fire Sami Zayn? No, he's still employed. He's not ready to compete. He's still injured.
Yep.
You'd hope that maybe early next year he can start coming back. Him and Itami as well. Do you know the timeline on them coming back? It must be early next year, easy.
Can't say. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it could be much longer. It's been long enough.
Yeah, and if I think Itami's going back to NXT, and you've got Zayn has got a good chance of actually just returning onto the main roster.
Yeah.
Especially as you've got a built-in rivalry with Kevin Owens there that you can play off, so who knows. But the whole thing with him appearing for Evolve, listen, like, James Storm came into NXT, right? He was like a one-time deal, but he can still go work out the shows. So when Samoa Joe first came in, he was under a deal that he could actually still go wrestle Ring of Honor shows. It's not as if when you're involved in the NXT brand, it's not as taboo. Restrictive. Yeah, as long as the company okays it, which obviously they did. They've got a working relationship with Evolve, right? That, these things will happen. So, and also it opens up the door for some of these guys that will, some of the talent that goes through Evolve's doors and companies like that, that aren't directly in competition, let's say, with WWE, for the door to be open for their talent to come in and work with WWE and
yeah, I mean, some of them have already been on NXT.
Yeah,
I don't think it was Camacho, not Camacho. Was it recently? There was the tag team.
Tommaso and Ciampa, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was like, Camacho.
That
was definitely not Camacho.
Camacho.
That's long gone.
Yeah. So it's just a working relationship. Some people are making more of this than it actually is. They're going, oh, has he been fired from WWE? Oh, if he's appearing there, is Evolve like the next? No, it's just a working relationship. There's talks going in and out. It's nothing huge, but it's big enough that they can send Sami Zayn to do a non-wrestling appearance for their show, which, to be honest, isn't mind-blowing. If he was wrestling for a match, I think that would be a lot more telling, right? But he's not. He's just appearing. He's probably going to have a promo on that show or whatever, and then whatever. Go from there. So just the way it is. Some people, like I said, I saw some people just like freaking out, going, "Oh my god!" There's some of them really sad that Sami Zayn got fired from WWE, and he's appearing on the Indies, and it's like, no, that's
not the case.
That's not the case. Don't worry, it's not the case. He's still with WWE. And if that were the case, then they would be. I
was going to say, something must have gone horribly wrong for Sami Zayn to be fired.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. It's he would, even with his injury, right? He's done great work for them, and he's helped build the NXT brand. He's one of those people that you don't have to worry anything going on with WWE. So any of his fans, don't worry. I know you love him, but he's not going anywhere. He's fine. In fact, it's good that he's doing the appearance because it gives him a chance to. Do something, right, rather than nothing all this time. So it's still good. And by the way, I wouldn't think this is the last thing that happens between NXT and Evolve. There's probably going to be more things that happen like this going forward. But like I said, I don't think it'll be actual matches or anything along those lines. But still, WWE has teamed up with ESPN. Oh yes, this has come about this week, Matt. Did you see the interview between Coachman and Seth Rollins?
I didn't know.
It wasn't particularly long anyway.
Chance to.
Now the deal is that ESPN is now going to be covering WWE on SportsCenter on a weekly basis. So I'm guessing people like Jonathan Coach. I think Coachman was quite integral to actually getting some of this to go ahead. Considering his former involvement with WWE as a whole.
Yeah.
They probably facilitated a lot of what happened here, but yeah, now they've got like a weekly coverage on what's going on. They're going to interview different people, and they had Seth Rollins as the guy to come on this time to start up. He's the world champion, the face of the. He should be doing a lot of media events, so you'd expect him to be in that role as well. And it's done completely in characters, right? So they're completely Rollins is completely Rollins and all this. This is good news for WWE. This is, anytime you get added exposure, right, is good for WWE, right? A lot of people are saying along the lines of this is ESPN and WWE teaming together for a mutually beneficial partnership. And that's exactly what it is, right? ESPN gets something out of it, WWE gets something out of it, and it's added exposure on both sides, right? So I think it's funny though, Matt. The one thing that I think is funny with this, and I wonder what you think about this, is that ESPN is a sports network, right? We all know that. I look at ESPN for NBA. Sometimes they do football. It's a sports channel, right? It's a sports network.
Yeah. And it's a legit sports network as well.
That's right. So I thought it was a little bit interesting the fact that WWE has gone way down more the entertainment route rather than the sports route recently, and only now this partnership is coming to fruition. I'm not saying there's anything to do there. I just think that that's a little bit funny. I think there's a joke to be had in there a little bit that WWE has been more entertainment, more goofy. You've got because he's talking completely in character to Coach. You've got Seth Rollins saying on camera, saying along the lines of, "Oh yeah, on Raw I was dragged to hell." That's just what happens.
Just standard stuff.
Just standard stuff. And it's a little bit like this is like ESPN, like they cover sports, like proper sports, and you're saying, "Yeah, he just dragged me to hell." It's a little bit like,
sure,
yeah, right. So, still, but. Like I said, it's good news for both these. It's not going to be monumental, of course, but it's good news. Added exposure on both sides, and hell, ESPN did the greatest video package for fucking Adam Rose that anyone has ever done. That E60 documentary. I actually watched that today again.
I still haven't watched that.
You watch it, and you'll want to love Adam Rose.
It's not on the net? Is it on the network?
No, it's not on the network. It was done by ESPN. You can find it online on YouTube. Yeah. It's easy to find, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I'll just wait for Breaking Ground.
Breaking Ground, yeah. Hopefully
I want that.
I actually think they're going to be running along the same sort of format that E60 did, but for Breaking Ground, they're going to do
I want that. Even though I heard ZZ's voice in it, the recent advert, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of clips of
I saw Josh.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Josh 1. Like, I'm completely okay with Josh being shown.
Yeah.
It's like, well, where am I hearing ZZ? Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm actually liking, as much as I didn't like the Tough Enough series, I hope in Breaking Ground they do follow the Sarah Lee and him, seeing how good they get. I have a vested interest in that, so sure. Matt, we have to talk about it. Are you ready? I said that we're going to talk about it every time that the ratings keep dropping. That we're going to bring.
Oh yeah.
And believe me, I because we're saying essentially a lot of the same stuff here, so I don't want to just ramble on too long. But yes, the ratings did drop again. In our talk with Solid Monster over the week, I said along the lines of maybe if WWE gets below 3.0, right? Which, by the way, wasn't what I meant. I meant 3 million viewers. I got my words mixed up. It was big event, And I thought they're not going to drop below 3 million viewers. Well, they're actually getting pretty fucking close, Especially in that third hour. Matt, the third hour of this show was really close to dropping below 3 million viewers. I think, I'm not going to, obviously, I'm not one for a huge stickler of the numbers or anything, but this is the closest I've seen in a very, very long while of WWE dropping beneath 3 million viewers.
Yeah, but it's quite similar to like what we were saying when we had the Solid Monster on. It was just sort of like, it was another one of those where hour 3, oh look, it's Rusev and Summer. Bye. And I've cashed myself out.
And a lot of people by that point are like, I've seen enough. 2 hours is more than enough for most people, and I agree. and they're off, and they're going to watch their sports. They're going to watch their shows.
I just sat through a 15-minute Roman Reigns promo. No, thank you.
Yeah, right. I think most people would tap out of it. Obviously, by the numbers, we're not just alluding to this. It's proven. A lot of people did tap out by the third hour. They just weren't around. So this is a big problem for them. They started off okay and just gradually dropped off, and their average number was pretty shit overall. So. Yeah, I mean, obviously next week you'd expect them to do a lot better with the names that they're fronting and getting this close to a pay-per-view. They should be getting a higher number, and hopefully me and Matt can go, you know what, we don't have to keep talking about the ratings dropping each week, but we said, as long as they keep dropping, we have to reference the fact that they're dropping, so we're talking about there, Matt. Matt, my question to you about this is, I said on that show, that I don't think WWE are going to drop beneath 3 million viewers overall average on a show. Do you think, considering the way things are going, and if they continue the way they're going, I think we're too close to WrestleMania season now myself, because eventually it'll pick back up. Do you think they're going to have a show that averages less than 3 million? Because they're getting closer.
I think chances are good that we might.
Do you reckon? My follow-up question is: do you think Vince McMahon can sustain a implosion in himself if that happens?
Like, the worst part is, I think this might be the thing that, because WWE is a publicly traded company now. It's not all Vince.
He's in trouble if his investors decide
if they want what's happening here. If they go online and they sort of like, well, these are what your fans are saying, what have you been doing? Nothing.
I mean, the fact is, a lot of those investors wouldn't care what fans are saying as long as the numbers are there, right? I've got 3.5 million viewers each week. You've got what you expected from me. Suddenly that number drops below 3 million. I guarantee his investor calls are going to be a lot less comfortable for him.
Yeah.
So, I think the way I look at it is that, I mean, I could be shocked here, but I think that, what have we got? We've got 2 more months. 2 more months is the 17th of January, right? You're in Royal Rumble season, the road to WrestleMania. Ratings naturally pick up, right? And WWE tends to pull their finger out a little bit. I think that they have enough time that they can at least halt the free fall. I don't think they will have an average of under 3 million. But if they do, man, I will be the first person to say, look, wow, I was wrong. And unfortunately for WWE, I was wrong. But we'll see. Who knows? They could pull out a fucking stinker of a show, and there you go. You got under 3 million viewers. So.
Yeah.
It's actually, because I go back and watch some of the stuff on the network, and you look at some of the numbers back in the Monday Night Wars. I know we're in a different era now, but man, you look at the numbers that they were getting.
The difference is drastic.
Yeah, the fact that WWE were getting double the viewers they are now on some of their really good weeks, while WCW were getting roughly the same. It's mind-boggling that wrestling was that hot then, and now
that much of a commodity, and now it's just like, what is it now? Struggling,
isn't it? It's a bit sad, and I know everyone goes by the thought of wrestling it constantly goes on hot and cold moments in general. I hope that's the case, because I wouldn't want this just to get it just seems like every company is having problems. TNA will eventually die, right? That's the way it is. They've just announced they're cancelling tons of shows, right? They haven't even got any TV tapings set up, and they're losing talent. They barely have a show, if anything, right? And then you've got WWE, who you think, okay, so TNA's not doing well. Hope that maybe they're the ones with their excellence that's put them out of business, because everyone's just, okay, there's no point in watching the alternative. WWE is great, but no, WWE is suffering, and their viewership is suffering. Wrestling in general is hurting at the moment, and man, we hope for our show at the very least that they pick up. It's like I said, a lot of people may say to us, man, I'm rambling here, but I'll just go with it. A lot of people may say to us that, oh, you rag on Raw, and you want Raw to be bad so you can rant on it and everything like this. No, it's along the lines of, the better Raw is, and the more hot Raw is, the more fans we get on our show. So we want wrestling in general to be...
I mean, the thing is, I kind of agree with what Solomon was saying. It's like, in a sadistic way, I kind of want to see it struggle.
just so the people behind the scenes work a bit. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, to make a few drastic changes here and there. Yeah, maybe that's what it will take. But what I'm saying is that no wrestling podcaster, no wrestling fan wants it to go under 3 million viewers and then just keep going down, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that we're saying that is because we want the management to be so shocked and so afraid of it going any lower that they actually give us a product worth getting excited about. So
Yeah.
that's what we're saying. That's all we're saying. Any other news that you can think of there, Matt? I can hear you thinking.
No.
It was, I wouldn't say a slow week, but it's not a Jimmy Snuka week where we had all the murders.
Jesus, everything. Well, we had everything.
It was like a news gold mine, shall we say. Didn't our news section go for like an hour and a half on that episode or something? That was
Yeah.
That was
It's like, oh, we're just going to stop. I think that was the time where we started to sort of like, rather than doing every segment of Raw, we're like, this is just turning into one of those weeks where we'll just do some of Raw.
Yeah, we have to go over it quickly or just skip a lot of stuff.
Here's where we highlight Raw.
That's it, yeah, exactly. I remember afterwards I couldn't say then, our thing was we review every segment of Raw, and it was like, no, I don't think we can do that on this episode, so we'll just carry on. Fan feedback, guys. Here we are. So we're going to talk about your fan questions. If you do want to leave any questions for the show, you guys know where to leave it on the Twitter handle and on the comment section below. Matt, you have a question. Would you like to go first or last?
I shall go first.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, so the Marsander Mafia gets preferential treatment. Is that how it goes? Okay.
You got a problem with that?
Okay. Well, I might do. If it becomes a regular occurrence, but go on.
That's it. So, Dan Macy. So, I could probably call him my second of the Marsander Mafia.
Your capo, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Would a distinguished talent hierarchy benefit today's product? And who would you book as the top guys?
A distinguished talent hierarchy.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm guessing he's talking along the lines of pushing 3 or 4 guys as your top main eventers and then, treating them like the main eventers and having distinguished levels between what's there and what's below, essentially.
That's how I understood it.
Yeah. Well, we have a talent hierarchy at the moment. The problem is that we don't have enough people on that higher pedestal. You've got John Cena.
Yeah.
There is an established talent hierarchy, but the problem is it's so thin at the top. You've got one huge guy at the top. You've got maybe a couple of guys that are draws underneath. I'm talking about your Randy Ortons, your Rollins now. You've got your Roman Reigns probably in there, right? A few other guys that you could fit under there. And then you've got a fucking huge, list of middle card, mid-card guys. That's how it goes. So if they could just reshuffle that to have, 3 or 4 guys next to John Cena at that top and treat them like they're the main event, then sure. But I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I can't really argue with your statement there.
Mm.
It is what it is, and Cena tops it off.
One of the things we did talk about was along the lines of, back in the Attitude Era, you had top guys. You could say big main event guys. You had Austin, you had Undertaker, Triple H, Rock, and then maybe to a lesser extent you had Kurt Angle when he came back in, and some other guys, and then obviously as the years went on, you had your Brock Lesnar's and stuff like that, right? So you had 4 or 5 guys. Some people could probably argue some other people being up there as well, right? The arguments could be made for some people being looked at as a top guy, but we're just looking at the top. But I mean, there is an established talent hierarchy. I think there always is, but it's just it should be top heavy, right? Not top heavy. I'm getting that.
But it needs to have at least. It can't be one guy.
Yeah, it can't be just one guy, right? You need more than one guy.
You think back to the Attitude Era. Here we go.
Mm.
But you had Rock and Austin and they were your top 2 guys.
Mm.
But then you also had people like Triple H, who were not quite at that top point, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, much closer than the guys of
anyone else's to Cena.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And it became like one of those situations where if one of these guys got injured, it wasn't nearly as much of a big deal because you just put someone else that was chomping at the bit. Yeah, no, I completely agree.
It's quite odd to think that now we've got sort of Cena taking his time off, and it's like, what's going to happen now?
Mm. Well, Roman Reigns, I think, is probably what's going to happen.
Well, yeah,
but we'll see that. Is there anything else you want to say about that with your Mafia?
I mean, who would we book if we wanted to?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I think, like, listen, for a lot of people that say things against him, I never had too much of a problem having Reigns as one of your guys, right? He's good looking. He makes my wife like excited, so there's that, right? I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that like seeing Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So I'd probably put him up there. I mean, you could arguably say they're trying to put like Seth Rollins in that position. They just haven't, he keeps losing his champion, so there is that issue as well. It's interesting. Wow, this makes me seem so biased for the Shield, but I'm almost half tempted to put Dean Ambrose up there as well because of how over he can be in the absence of those guys. I honestly think they missed a chance to make Ambrose like a really huge baby
big
face.
Star, yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I find it difficult.
Yeah, like I would. It is a difficult one to answer, especially we've got some of the NXT. Hell, if we're going to put NXT guys in, everyone knows who I'm going to say.
Yeah,
it's Apollo Crews because he's the man. He's money.
Oh hell yeah,
he's the money right there, and the number one contender for the NXT Championship, by the way. So there is that. Okay, let's go on to our other questions and comments from my lot, until they can eloquently dub themselves a certain clan name. Jericho MPM says Europeans are starting to get sick of Raw. They also ain't staying up from 1 to 5 anymore watching bullshit. Like I said, this wasn't so much a question; it was a comment, but. Matt, when was the I was thinking about this. When was the last time you watched Raw live? That you stayed up?
I don't think I've ever stayed up for a full episode of Raw.
What, ever?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever stayed up for a full episode of Raw. Well, at least not to current memory. I think I may well have done like way back when, but certainly not recently.
Yeah.
I think I may have like still been up and catch like the first half hour and then right, I'm off to bed.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, obviously, I have stayed up and watched Raw. The last one I can remember was when Bret Hart won the United States Championship.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. We're talking about like a time where it's just like when it was perfectly, not I was about to say perfectly acceptable. It never was acceptable, but you were staying up for something half decent.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that whole thing, people can argue about all that, but what my response to that is that, as Matt knows, that was roughly around the time that my leg was freshly broken. So I remember it was actually quite hard for me to get up and down the stairs. So it was one of those things where I was up, the TV was there, and I thought, oh, Bret Hart's having that match for the US title. And I was like, he's probably going to win. That'd be interesting. Probably not going to be a great match, but fuck it, let's do it. So I put it on, I watched it. That's probably the last time I've stayed up to watch Raw. And I can't even remember. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a 3-hour show. That was probably 2 hours. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure it was a 2-hour one. Or not?
That was 5 years ago.
So that was 2 hours then. They started the...
Did they start 3 hour recently than that?
3-hour Raw started.
Do you know what? It's now become such a thing.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, so that was a 2-hour episode, so that's not as bad.
No, yeah.
I genuinely can't remember the last time I sat up for a Raw.
I haven't stayed up to watch I mean, obviously it's a lot harder for me now because I've got kids, you've got work, right? So, like, it's just not feasible for us, but...
Oh yeah, God forbid I try and sort of stay up till 4 in the morning to get up at 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a young man anymore.
Yeah, I can't. I used to be able to do that when I was younger because we used to watch pay-per-views and then get up for work the next day, right? When we were a lot younger and
do you know what? I did it for Mania.
Yeah, I've done it for a few, mate.
I did it for Mania, and I actually felt really good after drinking a lot of Jägermeister and like Lucozade to get me through the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it for Mania before, but it's one of those things that with the 3-hour Raw now, I'm not going to stay up. No. And I think even if you take it, you put me back 10 years ago where I don't have kids, and yeah, I've got to work, but fuck it, I'll stay up and watch it anyway. For 3 hours of Raw, I think that's a lot less appetizing, right? If it was.
Yeah, but then we're thinking back at a time where, like you knew you were getting your time's worth out of it. Like if I sat up for like say tomorrow, I sat up to watch the entirety of Monday Night Raw, and then got up for work Tuesday, I would not feel like I earned it. Like,
imagine if you watched last week's show and stayed up for it.
But I would just hate myself.
You'd be crying on the way to work, wouldn't you?
I'm so exhausted, and for what?
Yeah, man, I always wish you had done that just for the rage on that show.
Like for like something like Mania, yeah. I'll stay up and watch Mania if I'm a little bit tired the next day at work. I don't care.
Yeah,
because it was Mania and it was worth my time to stay up.
Exactly. But I don't think with our age, man, I don't think we've got too many years where we can keep doing that. So
age.
It might be one time
very loud
that you wake up and you can't do it. You can't do it anymore. But man, that's depressing. Maybe we should move on from that, right? Yeah. Okay, let's move on from that. What I remember actually is that I stayed up to watch WrestleMania at one of the times, and I was asleep. And it was one of those things where it was like the kids were off for some reason. I don't know what it was worth. So yeah, I was not sleeping in. I just got jumped on. So
yeah, that's it. It's like, oh, Daddy needs to rest.
Yeah, leave. Oh dear.
Just that booming voice of "Get out."
Crimson Omega blew himself up like Vegeta because of the Ruru storyline, which is quite extreme. I'm sure that Super Saiyan Cena can help you out with that. He could probably save you. If you can see him, that might be an issue, but who knows? Yeah. He's gone Super Saiyan before has Cena, so there you go. He also asks whether we think WWE should bring back the Cruiserweight division. At this point, considering on the roster there are enough guys under 225 pounds, he says switch the US title for the Cruiserweight belt because there's no point having two mid-card belts that are similar. Now, if I was to say one question that we've been asked most on this show is this: should you bring back the Cruiserweight division? So ordinarily, I would have just been like very quickly just say what we've said before and move on. But you bring up the fact of switching it out for a title that already remains. So I think that's kind of disproving, one of the things that I said before is, no, more belts doesn't,
make for better content.
Yeah. So they're kind of addressing what we're going to say here. Matt, I know you don't mind having two belts. I dislike having two belts. I
would bring the Cruiserweight division back in exchange of the IC belt. In the current program, I would lose the IC belt.
The way things are going at the moment, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I mean, the IC belt holds more prestige and heritage and things like that, but the way that they're treating the IC belt as opposed to the United States, yeah. You'd be more inclined to do that, yeah. So you're saying, yeah, sure, go for it. Me, I don't know. I do know. I'm still saying no, personally. I don't like it when these guys are branded as cruiserweights, and this is a completely personal thing, and I completely understand it. I'm certainly not saying that the idea is bad. I mean, I can hardly say that considering Matt agrees with it, right? But no, I can completely understand the negative side of things. Like I remember. The point where it's like WCW were just sort of looking at like Jericho, Guerrero, Benoit, and things like that. Like, you're the little guys.
Yeah.
You're not in the main title hunt. What are you thinking? No, you can be a cruiser.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I would worry about some of these people being put in that division and then being shoehorned and branded that way, and then it takes a long while for you to become a big star. I mean, one thing that I would say though is that some of these guys that you would hope, that would be put in a better position, obviously aren't. So being put in the cruiserweight division actually would do good for them. I'm looking at the likes of Neville, right, who looks like they're not going to do anything with him apart from making him lose constantly to Wade Barrett or Sheamus, right? It just seems like the way they want to do it at the moment. So maybe putting him in that division, the face of that division, can you beat Neville in a cruiserweight match would be an incredibly difficult thing to do, and it would be an attraction. There's just something in me that just doesn't like bringing it back. And this is someone that does enjoy cruiserweight wrestling.
I mean, the one thing that it reminds me, like when you say about like breaking out of the shell of the cruiserweight mentality, and I always think to myself, like, this is actually a TNA reference here, but when Austin Aries traded in his X Division belt for a chance at the heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
And I think that would be quite good. I mean, that's literally the only way that I could actually think of where you can sort of make your way out of the, the pigeonhole.
They can make it so, if you, as cruiserweight champion, you can trade it in, and it's not like Money in the Bank, you can't do it on the fly, but you can trade it in for a pay-per-view world championship match.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, no, it's like not even sort of like if WWE did that, but that's kind of one thing that, because I was about to refer to the X division as essentially TNA's cruiserweight division, but that's not the case. But it's almost like their mid-card title, kind of, which is what the cruiserweight division would become.
Yeah, I mean, you're swapping it out, I don't know. I'm still sticking to my guns. I still say no. To me, what I would do, which some people may think even more radical, I would just ditch the belt and not even replace it. I would honestly just go with one mid-card champion.
Bring back the hardcore title.
I'd be more
24/7 rules.
I would be more enticed with them doing that than the cruiserweight division, personally, because I don't feel like putting anyone could be hardcore champion, right?
The world needs 24/7 rules.
It does need 24/7 rules, right? I tell you what, that would be fun on a weekly.
Weekends away at a wrestling holiday camp requires 24/7 rules.
It is. Anyone who's been travelling, going to see shows and has to stay overnight or anything along those lines has played that game. So there we go. Kane St. Dennis asks, what do we think is the best and worst Hell in a Cell matches ever? Now, I wonder, Matt, if we've picked the same one. Because I think this question, for the best, shows a lot about someone, whether or not you appreciate one or two things. Which is, how do I get this over without actually releasing what my actual pick is?
I think you should say what it is.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
What is favourite Hell in a Cell match?
Favourite Hell in a Cell match.
My favourite Hell in a Cell match.
I think there's only two you can pick from, which is Taker and Foley, and Taker and Michaels, which was the first one.
Yes.
And the reason why I said it shows, I think Taker and Foley has more awe and more what the fuck.
It's the one thing I love the most is the fact that you look at the footage of, like, you always see that 15 seconds of the Taker Foley match.
Yeah.
But everyone forgets that was, like, the start of the match.
Yeah. And he went through it a second time.
Not even 3 minutes in. Like, off the cell.
Yeah.
And then, obviously happened a second time. But it's just like, oh.
And then have, like, the bones of a match after that. Yeah, it's bonkers, yeah. But obviously the Michaels match was a better match, shall we say. But
yeah.
Not as much.
Do you know one I actually quite liked?
Okay, go on.
Taker and Edge.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I did like that one. I like
Then
that.
thinking that I really enjoyed Batista and Triple H.
In a lesser sense.
In a lesser sense.
Yeah.
It might just be because at the time I was a massive Batista mark.
Yeah. He was pretty big over that time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's when him coming straight off of WrestleMania 21. So, My pick, though, I will say my pick now, it is Taker and Foley. I just think that match is just so memorable. It epitomizes what a Hell in a Cell match should be, which is you're lucky to survive the damn match. I think that match is lost.
It went as a war.
Yeah. You know, like you...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I would go Taker Michaels, but then I believe because it says the most about what the Hell in a Cell should be.
Yeah, what the Taker...
Not a pay-per-view, not anything like that, just we have to settle this, and we have to settle this in the biggest way possible.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt. You know,
yeah,
you don't
like
get through this match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is actually, funny enough, that whole thing about that whole feeling of the cell going in, it's hell in a cell, right? You should, like, bodies should be battered, bruised, and both these guys should be damn near on, you know, destroyed, you know, as it comes out of it. That's the reason why I picked my worst one. Which is, funny enough, it happened last year. And it actually happened a few years before then. John Cena versus Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell. Reason being is because it barely made use of the cell itself. I think the fact that it was just a surrounded, like a surrounded ring. It was, and it did, like I said, it was just a match that they kind of plucked out of nowhere, just stuck these two guys in a cell. It had none of that. Like, both these guys came out and were fine. Yeah, I mean, that says a lot about, like I'll preach it until, like, I'm blue in the face, until you can call me, like, Brother Marsander or something. Like, I will... Exactly. But I'm so sick of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I'm so sick of any sort of pay-per-view that's gimmicked. Yeah. Because it just takes away, like, shit, we've only got one, like, this coming Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It's like, we've got Taker and Brock. Makes total sense. Yeah. Like, that makes sense. That's fine. I'm good with that. Wyatt and Reigns? Nah. I don't think it's reached the level where it would call upon a cell. I think it's along the lines that, like, But just like, shit, we need one. Yeah, I agree with you. It certainly was better than the Cena-Orton build-up. So it was a little bit like, these two guys, if I remember, last year it was just... Well, Cena-Orton was for #1 contendership, and then the actual main title was defended in standard rules. Yeah, it's just like, what? What? Yeah, and by the way, as well, along these lines, that they had been wrestling each other for quite a bit over that period of time as well, so it was a little bit along the lines of, come on, you know, so still. So, yeah, by the way, one of my matches that you should go and watch, which is a guilty pleasure inside Hell in a Cell, is DX against the Big Show and the McMahons, just because seeing Vince's head shoved up the Big Show's ass is quite special, so... Hey, I didn't give my least favourite Hell in a Cell match. Oh, what's your least favourite? Mark Henry, Randy Orton. That one was pretty shit. Yeah, I have to admit. I think the absence of colour hurts a lot of these Hell in a Cell matches, though. It's hell, and it's not very hellacious when there's no colour. And you can have a good Hell in a Cell match without colour, but it certainly helps if you do. But well, I think it goes back to what we were saying, like with regard to Lucha Underground and Vampiro and Pentagon Jr. You can get hardcore, you can have blood, but if it's as long as it's telling a story. If not, then it's just a death match. Yeah, and there's no meaning to it, and the violence doesn't have any sort of weight to it. Yeah, exactly. There we go. So there are picks there. I certainly would use that as an excuse to go back and view those Hell in a Cell matches. Me and Matt, when I flew over to see you, not recently, but one of the times, you know, the last couple of years, we literally sat down and watched the Taker Foley match from start to finish. If anything, this isn't like no one's gonna. Wasn't that prior to Hell in a Cell anyway? I think we were getting ready for last year. We were getting ready to go see Alterbridge. Oh, is that what it was? I don't know. Pretty sure. I don't know. We've seen so much and watched so much wrestling at your house. It's it's all blurred to me now, but still. So next one, BX Girl is back, advising us that is what they want to be called. So awesome. There we go. And there's by the way, I love all these comments that you're leaving here on the videos. Awesome, and I do read all of them. I wanted to touch on something specifically that you said though, in regards to Seth Rollins and the champion that he's been booked to be, right? And basically, your statements here that even that if he's a heel, he's supposed to be winning matches by cheating at least. He's a cowardly champion, that still loses. So my response to that is, yeah, that's part of the issue. I mean, being part of being a heel champion is that you're winning matches, but you're doing it by cheating, and you always get away with it, right? And the fans want to see you get beaten, and if he just stops fucking cheating, the good guy will beat him for the championship. But they're going along the lines of, oh yeah, he's bad and he's a heel and he's cowardly and he keeps talking about himself. But recently, man, he cannot win a fucking match, and his win ratio is absolutely atrocious. So, yeah, I mean, he lost again this week, on Raw. So, yeah, if a heel keeps getting beaten clean while trying to be underhanded all the time, then he won't get anywhere. No one will believe in him. Ric Flair, one of the best heels of all time, the dirtiest player in the game, was one of the best heels because he was the dirtiest player in the game, that he would cheat to win matches, and people hated him for it. He was a world champion, multiple world champion, and he would beat guys like Dusty on occasion by being this dirty player, by being underhanded. And
that's it. No, you can bitch and complain all you want, but at the end of the day, I've still got the belt.
Yeah, I'm the champion. I'm styling, profiling, and it doesn't matter how I get the win, I get the win. That's the way it is. And he's not apologetic about it. He's just like, this is just the way. This is just the game. Get used to it.
That's it.
Play it better. That's the way that he conducted himself.
He was styling and profiling.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the way I'd look at it there. Ric Flair didn't lose many matches by cheating and then losing straight afterwards. A lot of the times that he would be put in a situation where, that he couldn't cheat, or maybe his avenues for cheating were somehow removed, and then he was beaten, and he would say he was screwed out in his own sense. That's how they get about it. But Rollins is he's not, like I said, he doesn't even cheat that often. He just brags, loses, and then it just looks horrible on him. So, and what we said, Matt, all this time, you wanted to be the next John Cena. Well, maybe stopping him from losing every week to John Cena would probably help with that.
Yeah.
Still, another statement here is that when you say that Sasha versus Bayley is like poetry, I'll just reiterate what I've said before. If wrestling is ever going to try, in any argument that you're going to try and state that wrestling is an art form, then that match is the match you should submit as your exhibition, right? Because
so the thing I love is I saw recently a picture. It was of Sasha. It was from Raw, and it's like that moment you realise that you're the most over person in the main roster.
Yeah. Listen, that match is beautiful, and it's not beautiful because the women are beautiful. Look at it! Oh, look at it! It's beautiful because it's fantastic, and the psychology of it is fantastic. That match, especially the second one, I think the second one had more I say that, but both of them had brilliant psychology. Is more psychology than you get in the majority of matches nowadays.
Like, I still haven't decided which one I prefer.
Yeah, funny enough, I said when we reviewed it that, yeah, the first one's better, but the second one's like this big, awesome sequel. The more I think about it, it's getting harder. Me and you are going to have one hell of a debate at the end of this year. And it's coming up soon when we have to decide which of those matches are the best, because I don't think they're going to top them.
Yeah.
I think Sasha Bayley 1 and Sasha Bayley 2 are fighting for match of the year, but still.
That's it.
If you guys want to try and will us...
Mil Muertes is still in there.
Yeah. Flying the flag for the men is Mil Muertes. And Lucha Underground, no less. He's still got a shout. We'll talk about him when that conversation comes around. And Phoenix as well.
I might have to watch that again.
Oh yeah, that's a good excuse to go watch.
Go back and watch Ultima Lucha.
Now go back and watch Grave Consequences.
Man. Oh, it was Grave Consequences, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm probably going to go back and watch Ultima Lucha anyway.
The cool thing about Grave Consequences is that they have that entire match on YouTube. It's great. You can watch it, so that's awesome. Alex from Wrestling Boom asks us, how are we doing? Matt, how are you doing?
Good.
I asked you at the start of the show, so not much has changed. I'm doing
worst
great.
part is, like, I'm suddenly just like, I have to... I've got to try and swing this into some sort of, like, a Cass and Enzo thing. My mind just went, no. My mind, it went soft. Wait.
Yeah. And we're going to spell it out. No. He says also, well done for surpassing 400 subs. If you look at our sub count, we're only about 8 away from 450. So, yeah, that end of year target we had didn't seem...
It's like, thanks, but we're big time than that now.
Yeah, come on now, yeah. Yeah, we're feeling awesome about it. His question actually is, what is our favourite Kane rivalry of all time?
Ooh, debut.
Yeah, that's exactly what I went with.
Like, didn't really have to think about that, unfortunately.
Yeah. When I think of Kane and his rivalries in general, like, I can't... When I think of Kane and, like, his storied rivalries, I'm immediately thought of his debut. Like, that Hell in a Cell match. Funny enough, talking about Hell in a Cell with Michaels and him coming out. His recent rivalries have been...
stagnant.
Yeah. Some of them have been okay, but none of them have garnered the... I mean, look at like as like back in that time when he debuted.
Who was it? Was it Kane who put?
What?
Or was it to get at Kane? I can't remember. Why was Paul Bearer pushed in a freezer? I can't remember.
Oh,
wasn't that Edge?
I don't know. I know.
Wasn't it Edge and Kane?
Killed him once because he put him in that mixer at Great American Bash, but
No, someone put him in a freezer.
I don't know.
I think it was Edge and Kane were rivaling at the time. That's the only thing I remember. It wasn't even... Like, I can't even say that was a great rivalry. I just remember Paul Bearer just being pushed in a fridge.
I don't know, but I actually have to go look at that because that probably is quite hilarious, but still. But, yeah, as a kid, seeing Kane debut for the first time, they've been talking about Kane and Undertaker's brother for ages. Undertaker at that time, no one manhandled Undertaker. So when he had Kane come in and he was suddenly throwing Undertaker around, dwarfing him, it was like
the fuck?
yeah, it was crazy. Like it was like you couldn't believe what was going on. So that initial rivalry that he had with Undertaker, yeah, that was pretty cool. That's the one I'll always remember as being the most. And people might say, oh, what about the one he had WrestleMania 20 when he buried the Undertaker alive? That was cool only because of the Undertaker. It had nothing to do with Kane being cool,
Yeah. Hey, that was the birth of the dead man. So let's.
Well, the rebirth of the dead.
Well,
man.
yeah.
So yeah, that initial rivalry. Yeah, I think that's probably the. I mean, that was. He's done well for himself, but he never reached the. I mean, come on, he was fresh and new. Everyone was excited to see what he was going to do. So yeah, I'll go for the first one. Yeah, okay, that's all of our questions. If you do want to leave any other questions, then as I said, comment section below, or you can become one of the Marsander Mafia, right? Yeah, do that if you want, and you can do it on our Twitter account. What is our Twitter account, Matt?
You mean at Talk Wrestle Pod?
The home of the Marsander Mafia. You may as well put that in the thing. Yeah, sure. You do that.
I'll update it now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. You do that.
Huh?
Moving on.
You're going to get petty about it?
I was going to get really petty and just say Solid Monster liked me more than you, but I don't know if that's true or not, so... Still. We have to ask him next time just to make things very, very awkward. But,
that's it. Get real childish over it.
Yeah, of course. NXT report card. You watched NXT this week, Matt.
I did.
You saw the debut of Nia Jax.
I did.
And we're going to talk about that right now. So,
yay.
She finally debuted of what seems like about 6 months of like video vignettes.
I can disarm you with a smile, grabbing the rope.
And very, very weird close up on her lips. Yeah, that I can.
Yeah,
it's weird that we can say exactly what happens in that. And
my name is Nia Jax. And literally, like the worst part is, I could almost like think to just cue the
font of her name and stuff.
No,
what?
But like just cue like the karma laugh, and then I think it'll be okay.
Oh, that's good. But Matt, we don't have to see that promo anymore. It's gone away. Okay, don't have to see it. So now, by the way, the video vignettes isn't Nia Jax's fault, so we're not going to put her grade down because of it. It's just a small thing. Talking about who she faced before we talk about her, she wrestled a woman called Evie, who had her own music and entrance, so I expect we're going to be seeing more of her going forward.
The New Zealander.
Yeah, I thought she was good. I thought she was alright. But she's good looking, at least, and she's at least acceptable of what I saw her do in the ring. She definitely bumped around well, at least, so there's that. So, yeah, that's good. It's always good to see new blood being bled in, because there is space now, so cool. Now, Matt, I'm going to explain this, and I'm going to try and be as sensitive as I can, because some people may look at this and call me whatever name they can, even though it's stupid, right? I like Nia Jax. I actually think that she's got a role in this division, and I think that she's got a lot of potential with this woman going forward. That being said, no offence, she's a larger woman than most, and while that isn't a problem, her ring gear is.
I was hoping I wasn't going to sound like the dick.
Are you insinuating that I do?
No, but I was just sort of like, yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. Listen, I don't have a problem with her being a larger woman. In fact, that's great. Like I said, there's a spot for a woman of that size, and no woman needs to be fucking like Sasha Banks, who is like fucking sculpted, right? Not every woman is built like that. No, not every woman needs to be like that. In fact, it's quite refreshing not to have a woman of that frame in WWE. Again, we've got plenty of women who fit the bill of supermodel, right? Whatever. And I've got no problem with like a bigger woman coming in, but just for a set, regardless of her weight, which by the way, her ring gear did not flatter her in any sense, right? The ring gear itself, regardless of that, is shit. Would you agree?
Yeah, I saw a comparison that she looked like the magic carpet out of Aladdin.
Yeah, you ain't far wrong, right? It wasn't. I think with a woman like that, especially with how they're doing her vignettes, she's intimidating, right? She's powerful. She actually had some ring gear in some stuff. She took some pictures of like Eva Marie and shit, and she had some ring gear in there, which was fine. I didn't see a problem with that ring gear. It was like black and everything. Sure, maybe they thought she looked a little bit too much like Tamina, right? The big strong woman, with the black stuff, right?
Yeah.
But, geez, that ring gear is shit. Like, that is really bad.
Awful.
For multiple reasons. And believe me, like, some people might go there, oh my god, you're being... Oh, this should be a problem. Listen, like I said, let me reiterate. Don't have a problem with her weight, but if you've got... listen, if you had a skinny girl with gear that made her look more skinny, that's a problem in itself as well, right? It's just the way it is. You've got to play to the strengths that you've got, and it just didn't look good. And regardless of the weight issue, the gear itself just wasn't good anyway. So that has to change. I have no clue why they went with that design.
No. Especially considering like the way they were like, oh, like I could decide with a smile sort of thing, and she tried to be sort of. I don't even know what they were trying to go with it. Almost sort of like a sexy sort of way. But it's just sort of like, she looks frumpy.
Yeah, I'm sure she's an attractive woman. In fact, I've seen some modelling shots of her, and she's a gorgeous woman, right? But what she's currently rocking with just doesn't show that. It shows the worst, unfortunately. Yeah. So that needs to change. I expect it will, because I just think this is way off. But what about her in-ring skills? That's what we care about, right? She can change her look, and it will look great, awesome. I expect it will eventually get amended. But what about her in-ring skills? Of what we saw, it's fine. It's doable. I don't know how good she is, because this was a education match to show that she's a powerful woman who can throw a woman of Evie's size wherever she wants.
Yeah, throw someone who's half her size.
Yeah.
Around.
So she's confident though, which is good. She's going to need that, especially with someone of that character. But yeah, it was a good enough start. It's unfortunate that's the one thing that I'm left reminded of, is that, I mean, come on, it was a bit garish, at the very least. It was a bit bright for a character like that. So hopefully that changes. But still. Matt, what did you think overall about Nia Jax? Were you underwhelmed? Were you overwhelmed?
I kind of was underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Do
you think she'll come good though? You're not so sure.
I'd like to hope so.
You'd like to hope so with everyone, though.
It's very true. I don't know. I hope she does. She's like for what, like the heritage that she has behind her. But I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it's too. It is very early to say, isn't it? Like, you only get to see a little bit of a. I thought the debut was a little bit underwhelming, but it certainly could have gone worse. But still, what's your grade for Nia Jax so far?
A D.
A D. Wow, that's.
I'm being really judgmental. I think it's because I just saw some very simple. I didn't see a lot of impact. I mean, I saw a lot of impact, but I didn't see much of anything.
You saw a lot of impact, but not a lot of it impacted you, shall we say?
Yeah.
No, fair enough. I went for a C, so that's ahead of you, with an asterisk saying, you know, it is an early start. That could waver, and she could have a shit week.
Oh yeah.
A great week next week, and that changes drastically. But that ring gear, Matt, that has got to change.
Awful.
Yeah. When I was looking at pictures, by the way, because she's the cover star of this week, there's plenty of pictures of her with decent ring gear. I've got no idea why they chose to go with what they did. So,
nah, no clue.
Still, Nia Jax for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you thought, and I think there is some potential there, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes forward. I think the application for someone like her, there's space for her in NXT. So,
yeah.
Raw review, Matt. Let's get to this. The Raw that has constantly been dropping ratings, and I'm sure it's driving Vince McMahon crazy. At this point, we will skip over some of the segments here because, to be honest, they were skippable in general.
That sounds exactly like how I watched Raw.
Yeah, there were a lot of segments with Kane talking to the Authority on a phone. Nah, I'm not that bothered with them. But I honestly thought, Matt, I don't know about you, I got my timing wrong. I thought Hell in a Cell was this weekend. It was only when I started...
next weekend.
Yeah, it was only when I started seeing that they weren't really trying with this Raw that I realised that, it's...
Oh! I just want to quickly, now that I've just updated the home of the hashtag Marsander Mafia on our Twitter handle,
yeah.
I was just having a quick peek through. Oh no, Tony, did you... Eva Marie's not going to... she's not going to be on NXT.
What?
Did you not see that video package that I'm in Paris?
Oh,
it's
that. Oh.
Fuck off.
Sure.
Fuck off.
Okay. Apparently she had a good match against Bayley. Apparently, that's what I heard.
It's apparently like the crowd were chanting, she's now learning.
Yeah.
I was like, oh... I don't know if that's really bad or if that's kind of good.
I tell you what, if she gets good, some people will still hate because it's Eva Marie, right? And that's kind of the point. If she gets good, we'll say it here on the show, right? As long as she puts the work in. So, but I'll have to see it to believe it because so far of what I've seen, it's I'll have to see it. But like I said, I thought Hell in a Cell was this weekend. I was wrong. It's the penultimate episode of Raw until Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
But this is from Chicago. So one of the things you expect from Chicago is a big, rowdy crowd. So as you imagine on Raw, this big, rowdy crowd was unfortunately nowhere to be seen. It wasn't there.
It was a very quiet crowd, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I was very shocked. Obviously the show wasn't exactly inspired, but still, you expect Chicago. Sure, when John Cena came out, because they just love booing John Cena, but still. Bit of a shame. The show starts backstage. You've got Stephanie and Triple H telling Kane that they won't be at the show for a while. And remember, people, that in the storyline, these are the people running the show, so you'd expect that they would do their travel arrangements more than just a couple of hours before the show is meant to start, but still. I think they would expect to be better at their timekeeping, right? Kane summons a stage manager whose job is apparently to tell Rollins that he'll be facing Kane in a lumberjack match as the main event. And that means that is the opening segment, Matt. So you know what that means? Do you know what that means? A match is going to kick off Raw. Yeah.
Wrong.
What?
Wrong. Because they're going to send out Ambrose. It's like, I don't like talking. You know I'm a fighter. And out comes Randy Orton. And he loves to talk.
But
Oh.
But Matt, the match opening up Raw, right?
But no.
But
no authority. You're not going to get it.
This was the opening segment.
You're not going to get it.
The Dean Ambrose comes out and they have a match, right?
No. It didn't. It does not happen.
I'm sad now.
I know. But it doesn't happen.
Can I finish the show now? That's actually how I felt a little bit, actually. To be honest. Yeah. Basically, as you say there, Matt, Ambrose comes out and starts talking, and I was like, okay, maybe he tells us that he's looking for a fight. So I'm like, yes, cool, yeah. And then Orton comes out, and I'm like, this isn't going to happen, is it? No, it's not. It's not going to happen.
No.
Basically, essentially, what we got here, guys.
The worst part is I feel like it's like Consuelo. I have like family. I was like, no,
no, Tony, no. Essentially, what we got was like a 2-minute pre-Raw segment, and then the 15-minute segment that you would expect the Authority to have was taken up by these guys. So you still had the 15-minute opening segment, right? He brings up Orton does Ambrose being in Saudi Arabia. Which is a country that shares such a deep love for women's wrestling as the rest of us. And executions, of course. That's always fun over there in Saudi Arabia. I hear that apparently there's a British guy that's like 75 that's facing so many lashes that they think he will die doing so. Lovely place. Yeah. Cool. Everyone? No? No one? I actually think it's funny that WWE does those tours in places, considering it's very against what their corporate views are, right? You know, it's like they go to places that are extremely anti-gay, and you got Darren Young tweeting them going, "I can't go and tour because I'm gay," and I was
sorry guys, like the moment I get off the plane, they'll lynch me.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And they go to places like Saudi Arabia, which let's have the Divas Revolution, and it's like, yeah. They certainly don't want the Divas Revolution over there, right? It's, you know.
I mean, well, it's not so bad considering they've now kicked off their Mexico side of things.
Yeah, Mexico's fine, you know.
And Undertaker's there.
Yeah, so, yeah. But what I'm saying is that when they bring up like these places, they've been like Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, it's sort of like, yeah. Orton says he knows Ambrose is in for the fight of his life against Strowman and Harper at Hell in a Cell, which I didn't know they were having a match. It's mindless and meaningless, but to be honest, I should have seen it.
Unfortunately, I knew.
Yeah. They go back and forth and try and tell each other how much of a renegade they both are. Oh, they're such renegades.
It's like, I'm more renegade than you.
Yeah, renegade. They have a renegade off, if you will. They renegade off against each other. That could be taken very sexually, but I won't go down that line. I'm going to say a line again that I thought I would never say, but it's happening each and every week, where you've got this promo which is going well off the rails, and then suddenly, who comes out to put it back on track? The New Day. Yeah, the New Day putting promos back on track. Just didn't think I would be saying that, but
just out comes the trombone that fixes everything.
Yeah, that fixes everything, right? Kofi says that they should both be talking about the New Day, which, Kofi, come on, we're talking about you here, it's enough. And Woods says that last week they did the impossible, Matt. They took out Dolph Ziggler. Oh, yeah?
No.
According to Xavier Woods, Ziggler is like Brock Lesnar or some shit. Jeez.
How could you take him down?
Yeah.
Really? The unbreakable man.
Yeah. I mean, jeez. I mean, no one has taken out Ziggler, apart from pretty much everyone on the roster, but no one's taken out Ziggler, but still, they're heels, they're going to talk bullshit. Fair enough. They talk down the Shield, the Authority, Evolution, and Legacy, just pointing out how many groups Orton's been in, and they call him a groupie, which he finds hilarious, by the way. He found them quite funny.
I had a good chuckle at that.
Yeah. Kane pops up on the Titantron, talks more about the posters in his office, in which case he must literally interchange like posters every single day he works, because he keeps talking about lots of them. Or he doesn't have a wall, he just has posters.
It's like the one thing I did love it though. It's just like, oh, and if you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. It's a fire safety poster. I love it.
Right, yeah. So yeah, he basically says that he sets up a match with them. You know, he says now it's going to be a tag team match, New Day against Ambrose and Orton. But the problem is, I look at the timer and Matt, it's about 17 minutes into the show. My dream of having a match starting Raw. They fooled me. They got me. I thought it was happening. They tricked me.
The guy who's not a talker suddenly turned into a talker.
I know, right? Orton, who as soon as Orton came out, I knew any chance of that was done, but still. So yeah, they have their match. It was evident in about, like I said, 2 minutes into the match that this isn't the Chicago crowd that you're used to. Sure, they had some big pops here and there, but for overall, in the medium spots, they was literally like, you could hear a pin drop. It was extremely quiet, awkward almost. No, yeah, what I'm trying, maybe one way to say it, you know, when you go to like London or you go to like any rowdy, normally Chicago, right? You know, you've got your big pops, but in between you've got chants going on. If you remove all those chants, there was literally like no chants on this show. You remove all those chants and you've just got dead noise. There was a lot of that throughout the majority of this show, but still. New Day get the win. They've been getting a lot of them recently. In a, I thought it was a good match to start off the show. They throw Orton into Ambrose and then roll the Viper up and get the victory. It was Kofi who did it. So, yeah. First his car, now this, Kofi. Be careful, he might not
ruin you.
Like you know, might get off of Orton's Christmas card list. So, they air a video package for Lesnar and Undertaker at Hell in a Cell. Just another reason why WWE's video production company is fucking brilliant, right? Just awesome. They should just do more of them. They should just expand it and just literally just have more of these video packages.
Just explode it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Naomi versus Nikki Bella. So they spend the first bit of this match, Matt, with a video package looking over Sasha Banks and Bayley at NXT TakeOver Respect. I love the fact that they spout all this huge success at NXT, these groundbreaking matches, all these reviews for the matches on NXT between these two fantastic women. But then they ultimately don't address the huge concerns on the main roster at the same point.
Especially considering most of the match was a "We Want Sasha" chant.
Yeah, you know, I think it's mind-boggling. I think it's funny that they're putting all this stuff up on all these great reviews. I mean, by very reputable news outlets about this match that these two brilliant women have had, and then they just go, "Oh yeah, but here's what's on the main roster," and they don't address any of the major issues on it. So, yeah, it's quite when it's done in contrast and they put it right in your face like that. It's so it's so blatant. So in the middle of the match, Brie grabs the mic, and with as much grace as nails on a chalkboard, she starts chanting, "We want Sasha." So, fun. And this leads to a distraction. Nikki then wins with her bionic forearm of doom. And that beats Naomi. Thought the match was alright. It was uninspired, but it was okay.
I didn't bother.
Yeah, I think it's not...
I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, you could call it from a mile away.
Yeah.
Paige...
I mean, I quite liked... I say I didn't bother. I did, like skip bits.
Yeah.
But I quite liked how you had, Brie on the announce table just shouting out, like, "We want Sasha," sort of like going along with the crowd, and then suddenly just like Sasha Banks like, "Bitch, shut up," and drops her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she dropped her. Like so yeah, Brie's like up on the up on the table, and she's doing her thing, and then like Sasha doesn't like drag her down. She literally like pulls her leg, and Brie doesn't fall on the table. She falls on the floor. That's like quite a fall. So Kudos to Brie for taking that at the very least, but still, it was pretty brutal. But yeah, they're building up this animosity now between Team Bad and Team Bella. I just want the teams to be over, and I want these women to be fighting for the championship. But man, I said that I went back, Matt, and watched an episode that we did like 2 months ago, and I said exactly the same thing back then. That's 2 months ago. So
yeah,
still. Paige is voted the most unconventional diva by the fans. This was sponsored by Payday, which is a wonderful bar. I don't know exactly what it is. All I know is that it's brilliant. There was a Payday bar in the Payday advert. That was Payday. It was sponsored by Payday. And by the way, Payday is the sponsor of our show. So get your Payday. We'll talk about Payday all of the day.
Do you know what it was the other day? It was my Payday.
It was your Payday. I love Payday.
Payday.
Payday. Payday. Feel the rush. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to put that in there. John Cena, by the way, when I'm doing my notes, I did Jahn. John Cena. I did it Rollins style, but there we are. So John Cena puts his tongue on Chicago's collective ass, which I do like saying that from time to time. And he turns the crowd kind of, around onto his side a little bit. He does that a lot. He's actually pretty good at doing it, right? He doesn't do it. He doesn't match how good The Rock was doing something along those same lines when he would pander to a select crowd in his heyday. Do you like that? Do you like that? He would he could turn any crowd onto his side. Cena's good, and he is very good, but man, he's just nowhere close to how good The Rock is for doing it, but still. Ziggler comes on out thinking about that sweet payday he's going to get from this. Don't worry, guys, I'm not carrying on with it too much. He comes on out. He's all fine. He was taken out by New Day last week, so he cashes in his match this week. Cena, by the way, this is so intense that he decides to stop the match at the beginning when he spots a successful marriage proposal in the crowd and feels that it's his duty to grab a mic in the middle of this hotly contested US Championship match and call them out. Which is fun, it's fine, and there was even a "she said yes" chant. But man, didn't that not look a little bit disrespectful to Dolph Ziggler? That he means, Cena's feeling so safe wrestling him in a title match that you can just pick up a mic and just start...
They can just go, hey... What's going on over here?
Yeah.
I don't care about over there.
Yeah. So, yeah, make of it what you will. I thought this match was great, of course, with a lot of these Cena matches. He is making a very conceited drive to male wrestler of the year. I will say that. If he carries on the way he is, all the politics aside, because it's not about that, but all politics aside, John Cena probably will be my pick for Wrestler of the Year. Not overall Wrestler of the Year, but male Wrestler of the Year. But he's having great matches. The one thing I will say, though, Matt, don't know about whether you feel this way, with these guys kicking out of their finishers and doing it week in, week out, they're not doing it so much with the AA anymore, but it was happening. Are you getting a little bit... Is it getting harder to believe that these challengers have any chance of winning the title? When it does get to that extra thing where they're hitting their finishing moves, it's not as shocking anymore when they get... Well,
especially the famouser that Ziggler hit on... Jesus! Like, the sort of AA reversed into one was unreal.
Yeah.
But, nope, Cena kicked out.
It's coming along the lines of now that when they do a finish, and if someone actually does beat him for that title, which I don't think it'll ever happen on Raw, but if they ever did do it, then you're going to have like a mixed reaction because it's like, oh, but that beat him? Because he's literally kicking out of everything at this point. So, yeah, make of it what you will. Kane is backstage. He gets a call from Triple H, blah, 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 blah. Ascension and Dudley Boys have a match. You already knew what happens there. Dudley Boys win. By the way, I'm not really going quick. There's really nothing else to say about what happened there. Neville and Cesaro against Barrett and Sheamus. Neville just getting clocked again. Getting used to it, maybe, a little bit too much.
That's it.
And Barrett and Sheamus win the match. well, Sheamus is the one that gets the pin for anyone that cares that much. But sure, yeah, that
if anyone cares that much, but why do you care?
yeah. I mean, that's about half an hour of the show there that I went through in about 5 minutes. There's nothing else I can really fish in there and say, okay, you know what, we'll talk about this bit. Not really. I can't really pick anything out. This just is what it is, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
there we are. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Now, this is the promo that Matt was alluding to at the beginning of this show. So Reigns does come on out, and he cuts a promo, and he tells us his rivalry with Wyatt. He's basically pontificating, right? He's explaining his history of Wyatt. He goes back to that ladder match for the World Championship that they had and all that sort of stuff that they're talking about. And it gets to a point where the crowd are starting to chant boring at him. And to be honest, it was, because he's pontificating, right? He's doing what Seth Rollins normally does. He comes out and explains, well, on last week this happened to me and I'm not feeling very happy about it, but 2 weeks ago this happened and that makes me a better, you guys are used to what they do right now. And he was doing exactly the same thing, right? So those boring chants started to erupt around the crowd. What Roman Reigns did, however, is that he literally just went, okay, let's get real. And he got extremely into his promo. He started getting more intense. He started talking about his seven-year-old daughter and about him bringing food home to her and going out and making a future for herself. And he says Wyatt is trying to take that from him. So Reigns started...
Not you, Roman.
Yeah, he started feeling it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Matt, but I started getting more interested in this promo the longer it went on. I thought, when he's pontificating, then I wasn't that involved, but it was when he...
Oh, the moment he sort of became sort of proper Reigns, yeah.
Well, it actually sounded like he gave a shit.
Yeah, when he became like the real guy, the real actual person.
Yeah, And I tell you what, this promo definitely helped to the situation that he's having with Wyatt, trying to make it more personal, Yeah. It wasn't. People may be saying, "Oh wow, was this that great?" No, what I'm saying is that it kind of was a contrast. It showed you everything that's wrong with the WWE promos when they're coming out and pontificating, and it showed you that these guys can do good promos. They just need to get a file it under their ass and to make it intense. He looked into the camera, Matt. He looked directly into the camera, which isn't something that happens often on the main roster. But he looked in the camera and he told us, directly to all of our faces watching, Bray Wyatt is trying to take my future away from me. I'm not going to let that happen. It's not going to happen. He'll have to kill me before this happens.
Yeah.
So it felt much more involving, right? He wasn't looking off into the crowd. He looked directly into the camera and told us directly, this is what he thought, this is what he's going to do. And it's always going to mean a lot more than, the vacant stares, Matt, up into nowhere. Not even looking at the interviewer and talking randomly, just up into some bit where they tell the wrestlers to look at. What is it? On NXT, do you remember they were starting to do promos like this where they were looking into the camera and they were talking? And I said back then, this is awesome. Like they're back to doing this again. This is great. They're actually looking at me. It looks like when they're talking directly to me, and
I remember.
It's evolving. And it had that same sort of feeling when Reigns was suddenly looking dead into the camera and explaining and very intensely talking about his situation. It's so much more better than him just randomly talking and pontificating into the crowd, not even really looking like he cares. It was like a switch went off. That boring chant switched it, and suddenly he looked like he cared from that point on. So fair play to the guy. But Wyatt comes down, obviously with Strowman. Doesn't say that much interesting. And the match starts between him and Strowman. What do you think of this match, Matt?
I fast-forwarded it and I called it as it happened. It was solid. It did what it needed to do.
Yeah, they're trying to keep Strowman strong.
Keep Strowman strong and give Roman momentum leading into Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I thought the way that they did this was fine. I mean, it was him basically outthinking Wyatt for 1 week. He managed to get in from the outside to beat a 10 count. And it wasn't like Strowman was knocked out and he tricked Strowman, right? He put him in a situation that he couldn't get back up in time and got into the ring, used his head. Don't have a problem with that. And it got to a point that it was an extremely physical match before then anyway, so it wasn't like, oh, this pussy Reigns is trying to get a count-out victory. He took the fight to Strowman.
He genuinely tried to take Strowman down through force.
Yeah, and he looked at the situation and got the 10 count when it came up. I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
And when it looked like they were about to give him the beating, he skits out and then gives Bray a smack in the mouth before he leaves. So, yeah. I actually thought this was one of the better parts of the show, the better booked parts of the show at least. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with this.
Solid.
Like I said, Reigns' promo eventually got good, and that's fine with me, honestly. I thought that was okay. Another thrilling call, Matt. These cool segments between Kane and the Authority, you just can't get enough of them, can't you?
So good.
You went back and watched them like 3 times, didn't you?
Nothing I like more than a like bad cell reception phone call.
Yeah. Man, that's some shit right there. That is. Oh god.
How can I not?
These segments were pretty poo, to be honest. Rusev versus Ryback. So, here's a talking point, and I almost forgot about to talk about this until this came up. So Rusev and Lana's engagement leaked out to the
TMZ.
It was TMZ, yeah. You can call them the press if you like, but it's hard to talk to them real journalists in that sense. But still, yeah. So it got leaked out. Rusev and Lana are engaged. Apparently they've been engaged for around about a month. Okay. And Vince is apparently pissed. He's pissed that this got leaked out. Apparently so pissed that he decided to change the direction of this storyline overnight. Right? He decided to go a completely different direction with it. And apparently that he's starting to say, back when you think... I'm trying to go around this well. Essentially what he wants is that talent to act their characters outside of WWE.
He wants kayfabe back.
He wants kayfabe back. The problem is, I think the minute that you started making deals with E to have reality TV shows, I think you lost your right to have kayfabe back.
Yeah.
Kayfabe's dead, right? The minute you started making shows revealing the backstage segments and having, Tough Enough and all this sort of stuff, come on, Total Divas is the ultimate epitome of kayfabe being dead, right? I mean, that show isn't exactly reality anyway, but it shows wrestling in a light of exactly what it is, which is a show, right? And
yeah.
I don't think you can... What I'm saying is, it's like a crumpled up piece of paper. You can't suddenly just put it straight and think, okay, I want it to be straight again. Can't do that.
That's it.
Kayfabe's gone, right? The era of kayfabe is dead. You can't just suddenly be like, okay, fuck it, this news got out, shit, everyone needs to be acting their characters. No, you're putting over a message to your audience and also to your talent that kayfabe doesn't matter anymore. So, yeah, it is. I mean, they've gone with the whole thing here that Summer Rae, because Ryback has a match with Rusev and Ryback wins it. Rusev ends up getting pinned. It was an okay match, but they literally just went straight with it. They decided, okay, because this got leaked, we have to stop the storyline. We have to immediately stop it. We need to make it now that, they've been engaged for a month. What the fuck's going on? And she slaps him and goes off and calls him a narcissistic, cheating bastard. Matt,
I welcome this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a change, but the reasons for their change, do you not think that's a bit bizarre? Do you not think that's a bit weird? Considering kayfabe is dead. Everyone knows this is a show.
Yeah. It's almost a bit contradictory, because it's just sort of like, we're going to do it this way. And suddenly like, you've been cheating on me? It's like, really? Now, we're now mixing like what is clearly what everyone knows to be the made-up world clashing with reality. So it's just like, nobody believes this. Anyone who's a WWE fan on any remote fan page knows about Rusev and Lana.
Yeah. They bought a fucking house together. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, they were trying to put it over. They were having lots of pictures with Lana and Ziggler and stuff. But I mean, come on, we all know it was, right? But the fact is that I just thought this was strange because it's almost, yeah, Matt, you said it right. It's contradictory, right? They don't go and state that Nikki Bella is John Cena's other half on TV. They've never said that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that they do on like shows that show what kayfabe is and everything like this that they don't know reference to on the show. So really, it shouldn't make any difference what gets leaked on TMZ. Really, you know?
No, not at all.
Especially in this day. Yeah, 20 years ago, geez, if that had leaked, something along those lines, and obviously they would have to incorporate into their storylines because kayfabe was alive, right? People still believed, some people still believed that, you know, we're talking about 1995. Some people still believed that wrestling was real. Yeah, it was dwindling, but they still protected kayfabe. I mean, come on, kayfabe is done, right? It's been done for about fucking 10 years, right? Really.
Yeah.
So,
especially considering we had like the Hard Knocks documentary and all things like that.
You know,
and it's just like, oh, ruined.
And yeah, sure. I mean, some people might argue, oh yeah, but you had the Beyond the Mat documentary and stuff like that. Yeah, but I mean, most people that would watch that are hardcore wrestling fans, and guess what? Majority of them know that it's that way anyway. That kayfabe and wrestling isn't real, and they appreciate it for what it is. Now, the general audience, everyone knows that what wrestling is, what it entails, and the backstage dramas of it all. Because WWE have shows that reveal that to people, right?
Yeah.
Their network has shows that reveal all these information. They accepted that kayfabe's dead, and that's not a problem. But then they're going back on it and saying, "Oh, you should be acting your characters." And well, I don't understand. This is different messages that you're sending out to us. Like, are you still trying to revive kayfabe with fucking resuscitation pads? Come on, we want kayfabe back to make things so much easier. No.
Clear, no.
Yeah. Once you kill kayfabe, you can't revive it. It's done. It's dead. That's what it is. Yeah, it's the way it is. Once you pull back that veil, Matt, you can never put it back.
That's it.
Ooh, poetic for you. Moving forward from that little rant, well, not really rant, just an explanation. Kevin Owens versus Kalisto. Kalisto, actually, I was actually quite surprised. He actually got some good offense here in this match.
Yeah, same as last week, but better.
Yeah, but more entertaining because Kalisto is more entertaining, right? And some of the moves he can do, you know, like that Hurricane Rana, just that dead Hurricane Rana, like that DDT Hurricane Rana, just brilliant, awesome stuff. And he got to show off some of his moveset, educate the fans, because I'm actually genuinely shocked how little the Lucha Dragons have had actual matches on Raw since they were promoted, shall we say.
That's true, yeah.
I said it was a crime. It still is. I think they should. There was like a couple of weeks where they were easily like getting people really into the show, and fans were popping for all their moves, and then they just weren't used. It was really weird, but still. Owens hits a hell of a dirty powerbomb. You must have seen this power. It was dirty, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh. And that beats Kalisto, and then he goes and rubs it in Michael Cole's face because he's still doing that apparently. So.
Yep.
If they're running off that angle of Owens not liking Michael Cole or anything along these lines, then they really aren't playing off it that much on Cole's side. I mean, Cole's like, yeah, you're the champion.
Cool, good.
I mean, yeah, as you say, though, originally, though, it was like about the John Cena, like, oh, he's the voice, he's the one telling everyone John Cena's the hero, but maybe if they played off it a little bit more, then... I mean, is that just me? I don't know. Do you feel that way?
A little bit, because you're sort of like, what do you think of that, Michael? It's like, cool. Well, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, it just comes off like Cole is like, okay, I don't really know how you want me to react. It's, yeah. And you had that really random time where Owens tried to grab him and missed him that once. Yeah, it was really, I don't know, this dynamic, not entirely sure what's going on.
Yeah.
But still. We can talk about the Divas, Matt.
Oh.
Would you like to talk about the Divas?
No.
Well, you kind of have to talk about the
I
Divas.
kind of don't have to. The revolution is dead. Let's just not. let's not entertain it by talking about it.
Charlotte and Becky Lynch versus Alicia Fox and Brie Bella.
Yeah.
I won't talk about this that much because it is a lot of the same stuff that we're talking about it here. that we said before. The one thing I will say, though, is Brie Bella pins Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way, it's not so much that, why do you have so much of a problem with Brie Bella pinning Charlotte? It's because Brie Bella, the way Brie Bella is booked, she loses a fuck ton of matches anyway, right? So she's booked as somewhat of a jobber, right? She loses all the matches that her sister throws her into. And Brie Bella has been the diva that's regressed the most over this past year, so yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Sure. I mean, it goes. I think it's quite funny here that Paige is on commentary, right, and she's still telling everyone that Team PCB is still alive.
No.
Yeah, they're actually going with that. They're actually running with that. They're doing the Booker T booking of Paige here, where girls say crazy shit sometimes, but they're just women, so they'll forget about it eventually. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah! By the way, the way Paige talks about Charlotte being the champion, it's like, well, yeah, sure, she's the champion, but I've been champion twice already. That needs to change. Yeah, she can talk down Charlotte, right? But talking down the fact that she's the champion, that's not the point. The fact is that she's the current champion. That championship means that she's the best diva at the moment, right?
Yeah.
So Paige, I don't like how Paige is going along this line and just playing down the championship itself. That shouldn't be happening. I get what she's trying to do, just needs to amend it a little bit. Because the way it comes off is like, oh, she's champion, her. No one cares about that. Sure, we're trying to get everyone to care about her being champion. That's the thing, you know. The whole Divas Revolution is everyone's supposed to be going for that belt, right? That apparently prestigious championship. But playing it down like that, it ain't going to help anyone, but still. Anything else about all the divas and stuff? We've spoken about until our breath has left our bodies, and I'm fairly tired of explaining the multiple missteps in this Divas Revolution. It's just the same problems. They just haven't fixed those problems. They just let them stay, and they just carried on going with it, and that's it. That's pretty much what it is.
Is it?
Matt, another thrilling phone call came up after this. Oh, yeah.
I just cannot contain myself.
Seth Rollins talks to Big Show. He wants his support for the main event tonight on that show. Big Show laughs at him. I mean, come on. Come on, guys. Big Show is still clearly unable to compete over his actions with Brock Lesnar last week. So, you know, Seth Rollins talking about Big Show coming to his aid. Well, come on. Big Show can't compete. Jeez.
That's it.
Come on.
He took an F5 the other week.
Yeah.
It's
only 1 week away from the F5, Matt. Right? Come on. Kane shows up and tells him, oh, they won't be wrestling each other after all because the Authority found out, but he has a replacement. And everyone knows exactly where this is going. It was not exactly shocking. As much as Michael Cole was apparently shocked, and he was like, oh, how clever is this? Oh, yeah, of course, Corporate Kane can't face Rollins, but Demon Kane can. Matt, it was such a shocking twist of events that shocked me to my core.
What a shock.
Not really. It shocked you to your core, Matt, right?
No.
It shocked my wife to her core. Well, no,
I don't believe it.
She didn't really care. It shocked my dog to its core. Yeah. He may have been gassy. I don't know. But
something.
But we'll take it, okay? My dog was at least shocked. Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed Mark Henry was at ringside and... Oh, Matt, something's wrong with my dog.
He hasn't pinned him, has he?
Yeah, he's pinned Mark Henry.
Oh, shit.
Okay, he's a little bit shocked there that he pinned Mark Henry. Sorry, guys. I might have to go fix that in a minute. Sorry, guys. So, Big Show hits Kane with a knockout punch. I might have to superimpose my dog pinning Mark Henry now. That might have to be something I have to do. But still. Hits Kane with a knockout punch, then walks out. Matt, what a brave man to fight so soon after that F5 from Brock Lesnar.
It's crazy.
People don't give him the respect he deserves for fighting that soon after facing Brock Lesnar. Of course, it's a lumberjack match, so, you know, shit hits the fan, all hell breaks loose.
Guess who's getting the shit kicked out of him?
That's it. Eventually, Kane pins Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, by the way. Pins Rollins after a tombstone pile driver. You're World Champion, everyone. A man who is struggling to keep a win-loss ratio higher than Heath Slater. What a champion.
Woo. So proud for him to carry the belt.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. The last 20 matches, I think it's been 1 for 20 for Rollins. I'm sure Heath Slater has won a match in the same time, so he's got a win ratio.
Yeah.
So, if it is that case, by the way, that Rollins has won one of his last 20, I mean he has a 5% chance of winning a match. He's the world champion.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right? So many people can beat Seth Rollins at the moment. It goes back to that question that we got. Not question, but that comment that BX girl left. Yeah, this is the reason why Rollins is never going to be thought of as a huge, big guy, because he keeps getting fucking beaten so easily.
He's a chump.
Yeah, he's a chump. He's the World Heavyweight Champion, Matt. He's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
But he's not booked like it. So.
No.
That's your show. It committed the cardinal sin of both a wrestling and entertainment show. It was boring, again. I don't think it was as bad as last week. Would you agree with that?
No, I think it was an improvement.
Yeah, I think it was, a small improvement. I think last week was more... It was still bad this week, right? There was a lot of mindless matches, stale storylines, and there's nothing hot in WWE at the moment.
No.
Which is a shame. And I'm not counting NXT in that, because obviously NXT is doing great, but... On the main roster show.
NXT will always do good.
Yes. And by the way, guys, I mean, don't take our word for it. Obviously, the ratings are reflecting exactly what we're saying. You know, that these show... People can miss these shows. You know, they don't have to watch them. They can miss them. And to them, it's okay. It's fine.
I might not even watch next week's Raw.
Yeah.
Just leave it for Mania. Leave it for Mania? I could leave it for Mania and I'd probably still catch up.
Wow, Matt's taking a 6-month break. Jesus Christ.
Sabbatical.
A sabbatical, that's it. But, Matt, you cannot take a sabbatical next week. Would you like to tell people what next week is?
It's the Mirror Realm.
Yes, we're over the Mirror. Oh, you play fucking Yu-Gi-Oh? Jeez. It's opposite week, is it?
It is.
Opposite week. You may be asking what that is. I will not be hosting the show.
I'm going to have a crack at it.
It will be Matt who is hosting the show. This means, by the way, Matt, I don't know if you know this, it would be only the second show, podcast, by the way, that I've been in that I haven't been the host of.
That's true.
So isn't that quite a shock? I think once before I was sick and you hosted, and I think it was I think that might be episode 17 or something like that. It was one of the early ones. I think there's been a show I haven't hosted in
so long
50,
ago
60.
I can't even recall it.
Yeah, right. So I'm actually looking forward to it. So it'll be cool. Matt's going to have the outline of the show. You're going to pick the NXT report card, I'm guessing. You're going to do and you're going to do all that and all the questions and everything along those lines. So yeah, send your questions. Matt is hosting the show next week. It's your Mafia is taking over, shall we say? Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit here with my hands behind my head and just
sit back.
Just enjoy the ride. All right, guys, if you did enjoy this episode, thank you very much for watching. And if you're new to the channel, then subscribe. You can become one of our almost 450 subscribers, which is crazy. We've had an awesome year. This has been a hella successful year.
That's it.
A big thanks to Solomonster, who did join us for that episode throughout the week. If you didn't catch it, go catch it. It was great fun. You can also catch his show as well. If you want to tweet us, Matt, what is the Twitter handle?
At Talk Wrestle Pod.
I'm going to have to do that next week, aren't I?
You are.
I am. And like I said, if you guys want to ask any questions, you can do it on the Twitter handle or on the comment section below. Apart from that, send your intros to us at letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com for a chance at winning that sweet Let's Talk Wrestling t-shirt. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our fans?
I have nothing left to say.
good night, ladies and gentlemen. Or good day to you if you're watching this at a certain time.
That's it.
Hope you have a great week. We'll catch you again next time for episode 98. My work for episode 100 officially begins as of now. And it's going to take me a fucking long time. Matt knows we've been working on this for ages.
It's crazy.
It's all going to start. So, good for me. I'm going to spend hours behind the editing booth. But it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Alright, guys, have a great week. And we'll catch you next time.
Ooh, and we'll catch you soon.
Yeah, Matt will go to sleep. Yeah.
I can go back to bed now.
Alright then, bye-bye.
Bye.